one of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of folks are really tiptoeing around the fact that Justin Pearson is in mourning. And I do understand that his family and they are in mourning after his brother committed suicide. And I totally understand that. I totally get that everyone is tiptoeing around the fact that he is in mourning and his family is dealing with a family tragedy. That does not give him the permission to do what he did on Wednesday afternoon. It just doesn't. And so, yeah, Justin Pearson, I'm sorry for your loss. Your behavior sickens me. Because Representative Andy Farmer did not deserve the verbal beatdown that he got from you, Justin Pearson. So let's all admit and say, yeah, you know what? We're sorry that happened to your family. About how his brother committed gun suicide, as Justin Pearson said. By the way, politicizing his brother's death. So you know the story by now. You've got Justin Pearson, who has been gone pretty much for the entire state legislative session. He comes rolling in and starts in about how the state legislature simply has not been working hard enough on gun violence.
We need to do something about the gun violence epidemic. We have the power to do something about the gun violence epidemic, and we don't just have to offer some empty thoughts and prayers.
I don't think it's fair for you to come in front of this committee and lecture us on hard work and convictions and hard work for our committee. So when I understand where you're at and what you're doing and why, but at the end of the day, we've been here working.
It is a pathetic excuse for you to not answer the question of why we are doing nothing about the gun violence epidemic than to personally attack me.
Okay, so did you hear any personal attacks there, my friends? Did you hear any personal attack whatsoever? Now, I didn't hear any. And so for Justin Pearson, and of course, this is what the Democrats do. They attack, and then they try to play the victim, always playing the victim card and, of course, the race card as well. We've all come to understand that is and expect that is what the Democrats do. But then they got into where Pearson has been for the last 3 months.
But let me explain to you what I have been doing, Representative, since you asked. My brother, Temperance Darnell Pearson, one of the loves of my life, passed away from gun suicide on December 1st of 2024.
Okay, and that is rough, really rough for the family. But that was a decision that his brother made. And I understand being angry. I understand being resentful. But I think that he's wrong to seemingly blame the state legislature for not, and I'm going to air quote this, tackling gun violence. And I would like to ask Representative Pearson what he has done back in Memphis to curb gun violence. It's a serious question. And maybe he has held town halls to ask the gangbangers to stop shooting each other. Have you, Justin Pearson? Have you walked the apartment complexes and the neighborhoods in the communities that are impacted by this gun violence, asking the gangs to give up their more than likely stolen guns? Have you done that? Because as anyone knows, you can pass all the laws you want, and this is well-worn territory, but you can pass all the gun laws that you want, but the bad guys, the gangbangers, are still going to have their guns. With the piece of legislation that he did introduce and he wanted passed, would that piece of legislation prevented his brother from doing what he did? I don't know. Because as Representative Farmer said, he wasn't there to work the legislation, to work the bill. So eventually the bill gets voted down. And this was part of that, I'm going to air quote this, that dialogue where Justin Pearson, he just goes off.
While you've been here passing bills that have not ended poverty, while you've been here passing bills that have not helped people who need Medicaid expansion, while you've been here doing the hard work of making sure that our state is not the state that it can be because you have decided
Representative Pearson.
Reality of our situation is only to be.
Representative Pearson.
While you've been here doing that, I've been in my community.
Representative Pearson.
Meeting with young people, going to school, registering.
Representative Pearson.
Voters. That's what I've been doing. Hard work doesn't just happen. Witness legislation. It happens.
Representative Pearson.
And if you will, Chairman, just one more.
It just goes on and on and on and on.
Representative Pearson.
Seems to understand my life better than I do. You need to understand that hard work isn't just.
How is this allowed? I gotta ask, and I understand that it's not allowed. I totally understand that, and he's got his clap crew with him, of course, but he just goes off like he's allowed to do that, and obviously he's not. But this is what they do. This is what the Democrats do. A lot of this, of course, is performative. Putting all of that aside, because what happened, of course, next, zero justification for what you just heard. And then Pearson runs up to Farmer, and I know that you've seen this before, and I know that you've heard all of this before, but I'm trying to put everything sort of together. Pearson runs up to Farmer, who's just sitting there, and he launches against Farmer, tries to get into his grill, points his finger at Representative Farmer before he was held back by others, and he eventually had to be escorted out of the room. And you hopefully have seen the video. I posted it on my social media on X at Dan Manda Show. But no matter what has happened to Justin Pearson's family, it does not justify that kind of behavior. It does not justify the verbal assault that Representative Andy Farmer received, and it doesn't justify what he did. And I believe that I can say that while still being respectful as to what his family is going through. And we can debate all day long about whether or not he should be gone for, basically the entire legislative season or session so that he can take care of his family. I'm going to put that aside because everybody grieves differently. But as all of this is happening, a little bit afterwards, Pearson shows up on Fox 17 locally.
Representative Farmer was very disrespectful, dismissive of the pain, the heartache that we're experiencing, and was making it seem as though I had no right to advocate on behalf of District 86 because I've been taking care of my nephews and making sure that our family, my mom and my dad, were okay.
At no point did Representative Farmer say that he couldn't advocate for his family or for his district. Nor did Farmer attack his family. Have you seen anywhere where the local media calls out dude for lying? I will. All Farmer said was, we have been here. We have been doing the work. We have been working. You haven't. Pearson started it. All Farmer was doing was defending himself in the body. Now, the argument could be made that Pearson was screaming about how we haven't done any work on gun violence specifically, and that he and Farmer were sort of not on the same page, but that doesn't excuse Pearson's verbal assault, the near physical assault of Farmer. Not to mention, of course, breaking protocol in the chambers. After all of that, Representative Farmer turns up on Matt Murphy's show, who's done a splendid, spectacular job of covering all of this. And Farmer says, look, I didn't mean to offend the guy.
In no way did I ever intend to go anywhere near being personal with him, his family, his late brother. I can imagine what that's like, losing a loved one, being that close. And I understand the time he took.
Well, look, the truth is, again, that Farmer didn't say a damn thing that deserved the abhorrent vitriol that he got from Pearson. No. Pearson is the one that has not been doing his job, and he knows it. He was gone for the entire session. Now, again, I understand that his family is grieving. That is a long time to be gone, especially when he comes back and he starts in on how the Republicans have not been working.
He hadn't been here. So he gets up there, immediately starts to demean all the members of that committee, all the Republican members. I mean, he just goes hard and says that we're not working hard enough. We're not doing what we need to do, and we need to do more. I thought, goodness, I was like, I just want to make it clear that we've been here working, and I understood why a person would take some time. He took a very long time. Everybody grieves differently. I understand that. We've had a member of the General Assembly that's lost his father here recently. We had a member that's lost his wife this year. We have a member that has got a liver transplant that is going to be here. It happened about 3 weeks, maybe going on a month ago. He's going to be here tomorrow. We've had a member that had a heart attack last week, and he's here today.
Yeah, and Farmer reiterated to Murphy's show that he really had to stand up for not only himself, but the entire body that has been working hard.
Just to come back and to show up one day, and all of a sudden you just start, disrespecting the hard work of this General Assembly, the folks that have sacrificed so much to be here, and people understand how much sacrifice people make with their families, leaving home hours away, not having that time, never going to get it back. But we spend it here passing the laws that the people of Tennessee has asked us to do. We're representing our districts, and we're working hard.
Right. I mean, he is absolutely right. Of course, he's right. So all of this has been percolating in the last couple of days. It all happened on Wednesday afternoon. And I do like what Speaker of the House Cameron Sexton had to say about all this, a guy that has had to deal with a lot of these things that you've got Justin Pearson and you've got the other two. And I got to tell you that I really like, number one, again, what Sexton had to say, but number two, how they're going to deal with this moving forward. And so this was Cameron Sexton on Murphy's show. And one of the things, if you've watched the video, and by the way, you can see it on my X feed at Dan Mandis Show, but this is Cameron Sexton, where he's talking about Pearson. He's always playing the victim card, and he's always playing the race card as well. And yes, he does have his clap crew who is going to egg him on as well.
No, it's not true. And now the far left is now trying to put threats on Representative Farmer back at his home, right? Because that's what the left wants to do. That's what they try to do. That's what Representative Pearson is allowing to happen. But if you listen to your clip, he's the one who brought up his family, and he's the one that brought up that. Yep. Look, we understand that he blames violence on guns. We blame it on the people, right? And the people should be arrested, and it's just a difference of philosophy. The problem is, unfortunately, Representative Pearson cannot handle people who disagree with him.
Well, okay. And I believe that is true. But one other thing to consider as you see Pearson on that video, and he's walking across the room to go after Farmer. There's a woman walking behind him with a Covenant Strong sign that is it's a type of like a blanket sign kind of a thing, whatever, kind of like a scarf. I don't know how to describe it. But it says Covenant Strong on it. Apparently she's a Covenant mom. So there is quite a bit of, it seems to me, quite a bit of orchestration going on here as well. Because we all know that the Democrats, they can be very performative, right? So Pearson is walking across the room. If you're looking at your screen, he's walking across the room left to right. And right behind him is this, I guess, a Covenant mom with a sign that says Covenant Strong. You mean to tell me that was some sort of a coincidence? That was some sort of an accident? She just decided that that's what she was going to do? Or was there some sort of a performative nature about all of this? I mean, let's not forget that this again could be another performance by one of the Justins to try to get as much attention to them and their cause as possible. And now this story, and then I'm going to move on. Covenant School mom could be banned from Capitol after being involved in lawmaker confrontation. A Covenant School mom could face consequences after trying to diffuse the confrontation between Justin Pearson and Andrew Farmer, Republican out of Knoxville. Pearson was forcibly removed from a House Criminal Justice Subcommittee meeting on Wednesday after confronting Farmer for comments the Knoxville Republican made about Pearson's absence from the state capitol during a discussion of a bill to change gun laws. Pearson had just presented a gun reform measure when Farmer made a comment about Pearson's personal life. Sarah Shoup Newman was present and among those trying to restrain Pearson amid the scuffle. Newman has been a vocal advocate for gun control laws in the state since the Covenant School shooting 2 years ago that claimed the lives of 6 individuals, including 3 children. But what she did was she came up to the podium or whatever, and so now they're thinking about banning her. House Speaker Sexton likened the situation to that of a regular citizen walking onto the floor of the House of Representatives during session. He says that is a process you just cannot do. But can I go back to something? This is WKRN. So this is channel what, 2? And this is the sentence that just struck me. Pearson had just presented a gun reform measure when Farmer made a comment about Pearson's personal life. Now, after I just spent, this is why you've got to, and I don't mean to toot our own horn, but this is why you have to bypass the media like WKRN and really focus on either, radio shows or podcasts or whatever that can actually give you a deeper perspective, because that line is so incredibly lacking in context. Pearson had just presented a gun reform measure when Farmer made a comment about Pearson's personal life. I just played you all of that audio, basically showing you that Pearson came on, attacked the body, attacked the Republicans, and Farmer was simply defending himself. And guess what? Farmer didn't say anything about Pearson's personal life. He basically said, we've all been here. We've all been doing our jobs. You haven't. And he was again, everybody's got the very hushed tones about why Pearson was gone. And again, as I said at the outset, the beginning of this monologue, I said it's very sad what happened to Pearson's family. They are grieving, but that doesn't justify what he did. And so that line from WKRN, Channel 2, Pearson had just presented a gun reform measure when a farmer made a comment about Pearson's personal life. They're demonizing Farmer and not giving the full context as to what Pearson actually did. Dude started it. And what Pearson said and Pearson's behavior was far, far worse than anything Farmer did. And as I said, for the week, Farmer gets the game ball. Farmer is my MVP for the week because of the way that he restrained himself as he was under verbal assault from Justin Pearson. So we'll have to watch this story to see how it develops. But, it looks to me, and KGB was playing an audio bite where he was talking about Cameron Sexton and how they're going to deal with this. And they are trying to decide how to deal with this situation. But I got to tell you that if this was in any regular place of business, if this was in some sort of a, private business, Justin Pearson would be fired on the spot. A lot of people are talking about on the super text line, how much does your company give or approve or allow for bereavement time? One guy on the super text line said 3 to 5 days. He was gone for 3 months. He was gone for the entire session. And again, we all grieve differently, and I totally understand that. And the fact that his family is going through this, it is incredibly sad. I think part of what is going on with Pearson is that his brother, who committed gun suicide, had nephews. And I'm assuming that they're younger nephews. So maybe that is part of the dynamic.